There we go. So was I just playing horribly last week, or did we stumbled into the run? I guess we kind of, again, in the last hour, figured out some of our missing things in life here in terms of getting the run to really pop off. The Zealot's Blade honestly being a huge part of that. So I guess I can't completely disregard that, but besides that, if we do minimize its impacts at the very least, I am surprised that I'm not having too much trouble piloting this. Over the week here, I was kind of wondering and worrying if I was going to have a whole lot of issues in the first hour of the stream today, just struggling to cling on to life, but it's been pretty sweet. It's very sad that we're playing a Halfling this run, because this weapon is absolutely incredible. Speed Brand is always solid throughout the game and never really depreciates against enemies. You're just attacking way faster. But Resistance to Fire, RN, and Will, like this is a late game dream weapon to be holding in one hand as a bigger species. But alas alack, as a poor little halfling here, nothing we can do with that. Potions of magic, what are we, turbo nerds? You know, that's a great point, and in fact, oh, I was going to drop this, but I am a little bit of a turbo nerd. But you know what? Anything in response to, or in, I don't know, in admiration of my god. Because at the end of the day, we do need a little bit of MP potentially if we want to be pulling off grand finales on fools all over the place. It takes 8 magic points, I think, to do the grand finale ability of our deity Uskaya here. Okay, I should probably be running away. This is turned into a bad situation as we've been enraged and spent way too many turns just missing a another evasion-based sneaky fighter like ourselves. But we're also doing okay, just kind of running away, getting the occasional stun off on enemies as they try and chase us. Wonder how close we are to our slow running out. But there we go. We did manage to get to the stairs, but everyone lost us on the trip, so I guess we'll just re-engage. Maybe we should be a little bit more careful here, knowing that we've spread out some enemies again. These ones, just the mages, maybe a demonologist, or is that the same demonologist that we just fought, maybe? Probably, right? It's got to be. It's not like I've made this mistake very recently and assumed that I killed the very scary enemy on a floor, that it wasn't just a different one that happened to stumble on to us. Might pay off if I was paying a little bit more attention to what exactly everyone was wearing here. They look the same on the tile sets for the most part, but can definitely be some key differences there to help you differentiate who exactly you're fighting at the moment. But okay, that was a couple calls of damnation, which is always a pain in the butt. But as soon as they're next to us, they're no longer going to be doing that. And even the scary Hellion coming up, just getting immediately murdered by a riposte from our blade here. Ooh, an unidentified scroll on the ground here as well. I don't even know what we haven't had the chance to find yet. Holy word or noise. That's a bit of a dichotomy there. Stretch from useless, throw it out all the time, to potentially game winning if you're going extended and really wanting to fight up against a whole bunch of demons and devils. But, yeah, I'll drop my Scroll of Enchant weapon for the time being, I think. That works out for me. We'll carry this around knowing that it's one of those two. Probably not worth reading right here, right now, just because we're not 100% sure which of the two it is, and a Scroll of Noise would be a pain in the butt. But alright, this time, now that we've cleared out the chamber a little bit, I'm taking the slightest risk to throw some more noise, some more attention into this, calling more enemies to us. I think it'll still pay off. The goal here was to get a nice condenser vein to fill this area with clouds. Oh, the issue being you, though. Oh, you filled the area with clouds. I don't like that. Crap. How quickly can I kill an air elemental? Especially since, as a character that doesn't have flying, we unfortunately are completely subject to the swirling vortex of winds around us here. I'm going to take advantage of the paralysis turns to kill off some of these enemies, but there we go. Things are starting to get scarier. So now let's throw out that condenser vein. The clouds are gone, so that should fill the area at the very least. Ice clouds are pretty solid too, unless somebody's really lucky in what they're wearing. That should hit everyone. And I'm just doing a quick mouse over at the bottom of the screen here. I can see if anyone's wearing cold resistance armor. Doesn't look like it. So let's enjoy the carnage just a wee bit here. Probably shouldn't have just spent a turn waiting here. Yeah, not great. Let's see what all hit us there. I'm slightly curious. Annihilator did stuff, mumbled at us and pointed some strange words. So the elf master archer definitely hit us. But is that all that hit us, really? 25 damage plus its longbow? I guess that is a pretty hefty hit in its own right. But I had to assume that I had some kind of other shenanigans going on, or at least I thought I must have. Maybe this buddy, the mumbling of words might actually indicate that they threw off one of these huge spells as well. So, we need to take care of these two right away. Might do with an ice blast, completely unavoidable. Can't evade it because it's a big explosion. More along the same flavor of what we've spread out. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. I'm gonna die. Okay, hopefully we're not taking 15 damage per turn from this poison. I don't believe we possibly could be. But things went real sour real fast there, taking a couple of bad hits from the Annihilator. Most of those enemies should die coming through the clouds to follow us, and because we are outside of most of their sight range in general, we should be okay to just carefully, slowly but surely walk our way back. So we had to throw one blink scroll away there in order to protect our life, but geez Louise, oh me oh my. Quite the panic there, all of a sudden coming down to 15 health and triple poison status all at the same time. Hey to you, Pale Pink, hope it's going well, and are you losing sun? Surprisingly, not yet, but we'll have to get back to you in a bit here, see if we continue to survive our adventures fraught with danger here. Honestly, all in all, that did probably go well. And there we go. We finally, in the end, kind of got a good situation here, just drawing the Annihilator. Oh, no, apparently they forgot about us. But I'm still making mistakes. I shouldn't charge quite so far in, and instead, I'd like to just find one of you, please. Perfect. If just one. Only one, please. Thank you kindly. No double entries. We'll consider that cheating, and you'll be removed from our contest. There we go. Much better to just face these buddies in as safe of a situation as we possibly can. Try and pull them back. But in all seriousness, Failfink, we're definitely hoping our very best here to pull through with Hal. He's been through so much in his life. He really deserves this one, you know? So in that way, I'd love to give it to Hal Fling here. Mr. Fling himself. Oh, that enemy seemed to follow us most of the way and then kind of forgot what they were doing halfway to it. That's cool. I get it. It's a busy world these days. There's a lot going on, a lot to distract us. Okay, there we go. Just one. Perfect. Hate to be repetitive here, but the just one mantra is coming into effect, just so I can remind myself not to go charging in. Hal Yeet Fling, as Failfink has lovingly named our buddy here, and definitely not an inappropriate nickname for our buddy Hal here. We do, in fact, maybe less so nowadays, but we did, in fact, get our start in this wide world, being the yeeter of stones, as it were. Okie dokie. Try our best to keep this down to even just a few of them isn't too bad. We don't really count these basic elf mages as a full enemy, so that doesn't quite break my just one rule in that regard at the very least. And I guess we haven't totally given up our yeeting roots here, if just because we do throw a lot of rocks at people these days. It's pretty much how in a lot of like stealth games, you have the ability to do things like throw stones and make noise. But I feel like there are a lot of those similar type games or games with those mechanics that speedrunners have taken advantage of the system, and they instead just use rocks to like forcibly gain people's attention. So you're always just going to be eating them right at the buddies. It's essentially what we're doing here, just trying to call attention to ourselves, be a nuisance more than a real danger here, in that regard at least. Okay, you're not the one who summoned the tormentor buddy behind you, it's that demonologist. Don't love that, but just a soul eater and a demonologist? That's fine. All good. Did I just call that girl basic? Did I? Or is that a reference to something? Sure hope I didn't accidentally say anything. Never know. Again, I run on a constant verbal flow of diarrhea that's coming straight out of a crazy mind, or not a crazy mind, I shouldn't say, but an addled mind filled with random whims and thoughts. Holy crap, resist poison, willpower, and int +4 in a ring. Let's drop our current ring we've been wearing this whole time and immediately switch on to that, buddy. And that's not too shabby. Definitely pays for itself in terms of the trip down here. That's pretty awesome. Also, seeing that another condenser vein is here, we unfortunately can't carry two of these at once, or at least we don't really gain any tangible benefit for carrying two of them. So let's do something that we've probably should have done a long time ago. And let's turn off the auto pickup for each one of these that we've already found. Perfect. Saves us some trouble in the future. Also, don't want to walk too far by. Oh, especially since this is shiny pearl dragon scales as well. Ooh, I might have to try these out. It's not every game that you get to find pearl dragon scales. It's not something we especially need. We're not in desperate need of resist negative right now. But there's so many games where I'm hoping to find a set of these. They've not too high encumbrance and pretty high base armor rating too. I think we might have to pick this up at least just to identify it, see what kind of ego it has. Okay, no ego, but it is +2 off the bat here, and it could continue to level up. Let's see, how much AC does that actually give us, all in all? If we switch to wearing our leather, we go down by 10 armor class points. So it is a pretty huge net improvement there. Oh, and I guess if and when we take off the leather armor here, we are going to be losing 2 pips of RN. So that in its own regard might mean a switch to Pearl Dragon Scales is a good idea. Huh. I think that might be a more late game thing. For the time being, I'm going to stick to my leather armor as we just make sure we clear off the tail end of the floor here. But the resist electricity is also pretty important for these fights in particular, or for these floors in Elf, so we'll make sure to have that on us here. Picking up a whole bunch of spell books, which unfortunately I don't think I'll take advantage of. We could do something funky, do some switching in the mid to late game, but I don't know if it'd be worth it too much. Translocations maybe is a bit of a side benefit. We'll see how our skill training goes, and if we get something like targeted blink or something, we'll have to see. There's always the possibility that our minds will be swayed with the loot that appears before us in these runs, but that we'll have to see, I guess. There we are, all through the 3 floors of Elf. And again, a nice warm up here, getting back into the flow of things. This floor, I find it's always important, especially on Elf 3. Do a quick Control F and search for just period. It'll show you everything on the floor. And the issue here is that lots of these weapons are carried around by just elves that we pass by and I don't really notice. Like, this is not something I want to take with me, but I didn't notice that this +10 quarterstaff being wielded by one of our enemies was called Halfling's Doom. Well, fortunately, managed to supersede that prophecy, at least for the time being. You know what? It might be fitting. I feel like I need to make an inventory space. Wand of Paralysis, I'll never use you, even though there are probably potions that I should throw away. It doesn't do us anything, but I can't help it. I think I want to carry my own doom around for the rest of the run. I feel like I might regret that, and there might come a time where I get desperate enough to throw it on the floor again, but gotta check it out. How do you get a Vorpal blunt weapon, Monkas? That's a very solid point. It somehow magically inflicts cutting wounds. That'd be a wacky opponent to fight against. You definitely, I feel, underestimate the damaging capabilities of their quarterstaff. Maybe it's actually the best weapon if you're against intelligent enemies. Of course, AI don't quite understand the subtleties. At least the AI in this game, I should say. Sorry to all of you more intelligent AI out there. Didn't mean anything by it. Please don't take me out with the rest of humanity. You know I'm a friend. But anyway, ignore that. Let us think about where we want to head next. Here. Definitely, again, pretty happy with how that went. So Depths is probably our next stop. Yeah, I think we'll clear through Depths a little bit at the very least, and then we'll start to really nail down on which of the final runes we want to go for our third here. Slime Pits is tempting. We could try and use our God's ability. So if we're able to extend a fight the perfect amount of time and get up to not even max, but even 5 piety, I believe. Oh, I don't know how to get to Depths from here. Interesting. Using the go commands there, I'm not able to trace a route to Depths. So apparently I maybe had a bit of an incontinuity there. Oh, Jesus. All these weird 3-syllable words that normally I have no trouble with. Today, for whatever reason, just, again, out the door. But, I don't even know how to get down there anymore. This has thrown a wrench into the plan. D14? Weird. Let's just go down to D14. We'll see if maybe the mystery gets solved here. Maybe I have some areas blocked off as don't go here. Something to that extent. I do indeed. Okay, so err on user side, which I know is just shocking. You'd expect me to be perfect and the game to be the one making mistakes, but I guess just the way she goes sometimes. And perfect. Not too bad. Glad to have the Shield of Reflection here, as we have to deal with some enemies being out of sight or out of striking range at the very least. Protecting yourself against future AI. Smart. That is true. That is why we did it in the first place, because I didn't want to auto-explore into that ice giant. I think at the time we were pretty damn scared of the thing, so definitely, yes, not a horrible idea in its own right, but gotta kick yourself a little bit after the fact when you're as lazy as I am. You just really appreciate all the little shortcuts that the game has handed to me in terms of nice little easy macros and things can get the game to do for us. Slowing down a little bit here as those slime creatures started gathering up in clumps. As soon as it hits Titanic slime levels, you definitely want to be on your toes. Seeing as how their max or their damage is 110, I believe, so not quite a full health bar situation there, but not that far off, for being honest. And here we go. This is going to be a pain in the butt. This buddy hitting us from afar with a +5 Demon Trident, a flaming. Jeez Louise. I think we're going to throw out an early Condenser Vein here. Hope for some good clouds. Fire, not good against you. Dang, that's a shame, too bad. But otherwise, should be dealing a decent amount of damage, and I'm watching my piety tick up at the same time here, wanting to make sure we get those hitting in good points here, good points of the combat. So we're about to get the stun. Do I want to stick around or do I leave? Especially now that we've become enraged. I guess we may as well do one little stutter step like that, get the halberd buddy into range of us just in time for the stun, if I may add. Holy moly. And then, let's go for this, shall we? Cross the distance here, try and take advantage of the sleeping buddies. Oh gosh, you're still alive. You know what? I instantly regret my decision, as we're going to slowly start to back up a little bit here. Make sure we don't get caught completely off guard. I don't want to flood the entrance to depths too much if we can help it. Though I don't know if we can, unfortunately. And in fact, right, oh, we're slowed, right. Kind of forgot that we were berserked there. So maybe should have taken some more preemptive measures. I'm going to do the box of summoning here. Try and get some allied help. And then what can I do to make the difference here? I should maybe pay a bit more attention to exactly how much incoming damage there is. I feel like it's too much is the answer. Let's see, we have Stomp available, we have Blind Pass, neither of which I'm in love with. Beer does nothing for us here. And what else? Pile Flood's nothing, probably. Lightning Rod is a decent amount of damage with Evocation's training. Unfortunately, not everyone is lined up real nice for a solid shot. Oh gosh, shouldn't gesture so aggressively. The mic in the way here, but... I guess the thing I'm asking myself right now is if I should bother throwing in a haste. The slow and fast cancel out, bringing us back up to normal speed at least. This hasted buddy will still be a bit of a problem, but less so at the very least. Yeah, probably should have thought a little bit more before continually taking steps there. Just if I'd realized that we were slowed or fully taken stock of the fact at least. Because now what we've done is we've created quite a scary situation at the bottom of the stairs for us. It is what it is. We'll pop up. One of the Hell Knights died thanks to our Sting Weird Beast, so I'll take that. Let's look at this. 27 strong poisoning. Should be okay with that. Again, keep a bit of an eye on our health here. Perfect. Okay, so what can we do against this welcoming party that we've put into place? Still a couple of very ugly things. Some more of the hell buddies here. Let's see, if I go down and pull them up, how bad of a situation are we in here? We're able to get down to these hallways. They're really nice for fighting. Get into that 1v1 we crave so much. I think we can do it. With full health and not being slowed, this shouldn't be a problem. I think I'm kind of feeling some leftover hangover anxiety from how poorly that last encounter went. But in general, these enemies shouldn't be too tricky on their own. Gonna take out the undead buddy first, take advantage of our fancy dancy holy sword. Hoping this vampire buddy doesn't summon too much. Perfect, they indeed did not. And okie dokie. There we go, we've managed to get our foothold into depths here, fight our way into a safe opening position at the very least. We are one blink scroll down. We have to remember, so try and keep that in mind. I guess we at least didn't lose too much in that fight, being able to resort to mostly just our crap, don't like this. Mostly just our innate abilities and whatnot. But I'm gonna run up here. We're gonna waste some turns waiting around for the slow to depart here, as well as those summons to hopefully disappear. They did not, but they can't follow us upstairs at the very least, so we'll still do a little dip and dodge there. Come on. Bogart, stand next to me. There we go. Yeah, extremely squishy enemies that always do mass summon like that. So it can definitely be a pain in the butt when you don't have targeted magic skills. I feel like that's normally my solution with those buddies, is to waste any and all magic points and resources in order to take care of them. I guess normally on this style of character, again, if we weren't playing as a halfling, we'd probably use something like javelins to smite target summoners like that. We should also try and take advantage of the advice we were given earlier today and maybe try and use our Uskaya's line pass ability, hop through into them, but that also can be dangerous in its own right if we have to put ourselves in the middle of a group. Let's see, what are you asking for? A +5 Demon Whip. I will 100% give you that. Demon Whip, +3 of Flaming, dang it. No, that's the only Demon Whip we've found so far. Shucks. I was really hoping this would be the extremely rare treasure trove that we're able to access upon stumbling into it. But that's fine, definitely still no huge complaints on my end. I'm sure that we'll find something to fit the bill in that regard, and in fact, may just be able to get exactly that stat of a Demon Whip if we're lucky. Might not even have to throw any of our enchant weapon scrolls behind the whole thing. Okie dokie. The Iron Troll's a little bit scarier than some of the blue troll packs we've been running into, but still nothing to be completely scared of at the very least. Okay. And there we go. We also finally are able to replenish kill wounds potions a little bit more. We can pick up one of those here. Is there anything else we would want? It's definitely good to note that there's cancellation potion here that can always come in handy in the late game if we somehow manage to burn through our 3. But let's snap by the heal wounds, and if everyone would stop stepping on the dispersal trap, that would be great. Do not step into the clouds of freezing vapors either. That's all good. Let's see how we do up against all these undead summons. No problem whatsoever with our Zealot's Blade. I don't love what's going on here. We're slowed against a fire giant, but paralysis just in time. We at least are good against undead, so even the simulacrum that spawns out of it isn't too big of a problem. Again, maybe I should have done some more vocal exercises before today's stream. Maybe that's what's tripping me up on some of these just slightly trickier words. Should have done my unique New Yorks and all of that nonsense before stream here. And I kid a little bit, but at the end of the day, I feel like I should almost do vocal exercises before I start streaming. I think it would cause less overall damage to my vocal folds, especially on those days where I'm not doing very much talking in my day-to-day life. If my partner's out of the house for most of the day, besides talking to my dog, I'm going to be absolutely silent all day, and then I change over to talking for almost 5 hours straight. As long as I'm performing the way I like to, we're talking most of the time, though of course can't always keep the steady flow, but if we're doing our best, then definitely would be a good idea to prepare myself a bit for that, I think. Okay, I'm doing some extremely stupid things here as I step away and towards and away and towards. Essentially, I was going to run away, and then I realized that this was the most ideal place to take this fight in the corridor, but it was not worth it to run back. Shouldn't have bothered. But, You didn't throw the rock, but it hit the giant, so it counts. Yeah, even when we reflect rocks back to the enemies, it still counts as us eating the rocks ourselves. I'll take the win there too. As for what to do here, I want to take out this vampire mage. They're not resistant to lightning, so I think we'll go for the piercing lightning rod and see how that pays off. Not incredibly. Let's try again. Very scary here, but we are in an ideal situation. I also didn't realize part of my issue here is that we've been flayed. So we have some temporary reduction to our health here that isn't quite as nasty as what's around us. I also think in the paralysis, I think it's worth the half turn to switch over to my rapier. Small weapons get even more bonus damage from stabs. So I think that that worked out kind of nicely there, and then we'll switch back to our Zealot's Blade. Maybe, or we'll just run. Maybe we'll just run. Taking fireballs from the fire giant the whole way back, but there we go. Do I want to pop up? Is the question. Let's see if we can get a little bit of damage. As long as we're not one hit away from death, we should be okay to tease out. Just a wee bit here, maybe even just bring one of these buddies upstairs with us. Perfect. That's a much more ideal situation. Don't always love stair dancing too much, but it is a very important and valid part of the game in its own regards. So occasionally we will always dip into the tried and true strategies. Pop up to wait out the rest of that slow. I don't want to be taking too many ranged shots while we're under the effect of that nonsense. And wow, we're really feeling the rage today for whatever reason. Hal's even more so than normal falling a victim to the more violent tendencies of our sword here. Let's head back to the corridor as well. Try not to fight everyone in quite so risky of a situation. Also, wow, you had a fancy mace on you there, bud. Not something that we'll be using most likely. Very small chance we end up resorting to using this as a resistance to electricity stat stick. At the end of the day, weapons that have resistances are actually pretty solid just because it takes such little time overall in the game to switch between which weapon you're actively holding, as long as they fall within a similar category, I guess, such as, in our case, being smaller one-handed weapons. Because, of course, if you have to switch out of your shield, then there's no way that you're coming out of that in a better situation than without. Now, maybe I shouldn't be quite so absolute in my speech there, because you never know what kind of ridiculously contrived examples can arrive in RNG-based games, especially ones that not only have a whole lot of players throughout the world, but also within that player base, you know, we've all played hundreds of runs ourselves, so seen the gamut of what kind of wacky shenanigans can potentially show up at the very least. There we go, got pretty lucky with all those bogarts that we had to fight, not too many of them being in an annoying position. I also want to position myself to use our rampage boots there, get a few free steps towards our enemies, make sure that rage extends, that rage duration, I should say, extends long enough for the fight to be over. And all in all, again, this is going surprisingly well. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop here for more mistakes to be made. Because it's not that we've been playing perfect is the thing. If I'd been playing perfect and the game was going this well, then I think that would say something in its own right. But the fact that I've been making plenty of mistakes and we're still kind of sailing through this section, at the very least. Always want to throw those caveats in there, make sure that the game doesn't take my optimism the wrong way and try and throw some truly scary stuff at us. Halflings don't wear shoes, Tor. Right? I do feel like I'm betraying myself a little bit. As somebody who does in real life have slightly hairy feet, I can totally attest to why I think halflings don't wear the shoes. Because, I mean, obviously they're able to with the thick soles of their feet. They're able to not wear quite so much. But we can all get there. If you just walk barefoot for a really long time, you gain pretty nasty calluses on your feet that will be pretty resistant. My headcanon is very much the hair on the top of their feet. Because If you're wearing shoes constantly, can you imagine the kind of like against the grain tugging sensations you'd get, the tangled webs you'd get in your feet hair? No thank you. So I totally get it. But apparently Hal built a little different. Maybe Hal even shaves his feet just because he loves the rampaging boots so much. And that's the only way to do it, really, in my books at the very least. I think you gotta somehow deal with the discomforts involved. But who knows? Even with hairy feet, nobody can quite hold up to the supposed feet of a hobbit. In terms of, I think it's meant to be quite coarse hair as well, but... So yeah, if I had to like put my beard under constant, like tight constrictment of a boot, a hot leather boot on my beard, oof. You were enjoying the rampaging ability for charging forward in ziggurats today. I can definitely imagine. That's, yeah, one of those situations where you're getting full advantage, I feel, out of the ability to close gaps a little bit quicker than you otherwise might expect. Each and every one of those is slightly less potential damage heading your way. In fact, could be argued exactly half. Probably not functionally, just because who knows how those turns might have been spent and all that kind of nonsense, and you can't really choose halfway with Boots of Rampage, so sometimes you're gonna be on the short end of the stick, I'm sure, but no, it is a pretty huge advantage for large groups of enemies and just getting in there. Especially since on your character, trying to keep stalling as I decide on what to drop here. But I believe, yeah, your character brain was Go's Egg, right? So as soon as you can get those kills and get the distraction coming off of the gold piles, it becomes huge. It's in a similar way for us here, where the sooner that we're able to close the gap and start dealing damage, the quicker we're gaining piety pips. Also, things just got a little bit dicey here. I think I'm safe to keep running for a wee bit. Should have done bit of mapping in advance here, headed towards the right direction. Unfortunately, no great corridors here, hey? Hey, crew? Well, we can see if we get lucky with an early condenser vein. Not lucky whatsoever. Poison clouds is not what we were hoping for here. We have explored a decent chunk of the level, so I might actually read a teleport scroll here. Take steps away from enemies. I'm essentially reducing the number of hits that these buddies are getting per turn. Shasa here, I can't help the force lance. That's just going to be something that we deal with, but let's see. You are very fast and cover ground extremely fast. We still reduce the number of hits we take by walking away, so we'll continue to do so. Just barely squeaking out of that one. I think here we'll continue to go for the retreat. Oh, the flay finally running out there, making me a little less panicked for our chances at getting away. And in fact, we'll just finish off these buddies real quick and then run up.